It is always a good thing that we can get reminded ourselves that Christ is our hope. There are things that we are having in our life. Maybe you have worries. Maybe everything for you like seems everything good. That's good, but make sure that we remind ourselves that God, you're all that we need. God is the source. God is the hope of our life. Okay, I got reminded with that song. I will look up when there is none above you. It's focusing on God Himself, that He is the source of our life. So last month we are in the series called Purpose and Destiny. That's last month. Okay, some of you, most of you follow this one, and now we are in the new series called From Dream to Destiny. Okay, so I preached on the first one last week, and I'm gonna preach on the second one today. And this new series, From Dream to Destiny, it is taken from the life story of Joseph in the book of Genesis. Okay, so Joseph went through a lot of process in his life, and some of you know the story, some of you may not. But the story of Joseph is very good story that we can learn a lot from his life. And he encountered 10 significant tests on his way from from the dream to the destiny that he has from the Lord. Okay, and the 10 tests of Joseph are the pride test, the pit test, the palace test, the purity test, the prison test, the prophetic test, power test, prosperity test, pardon test, and purpose test. And we're gonna cover all of them each week. Okay, so this is gonna be 10 sessions of the series. So I preached the first one last week, and on the pride test, you can follow up in our channel, in our YouTube channel. And today I'm going to preach on the second one, the pit test. Okay, let me revise you a little bit about what happened with Joseph's life here. Okay, so Joseph got a dream from God. Okay, and in that dream, Joseph told the dream to his brothers that in that dream that I saw that my grain stood up, and then all the grains bow before Joseph's grain. So the brothers kind of like not happy with that, because they thought like, what we, so it means that we're gonna bow down before you in that dream. That's what it means. And because Joseph was the 11th uh, son in the family. Okay, so he's not the oldest. The youngest one is Benjamin. So Jacob, Joseph's father, has 12 sons, and Joseph is the 11th one. So with that dream, because of that dream, that shared to the brothers, all the brothers hated him because of the dream and because of how Joseph uh, tell the dream to them. Because he told the dream with pride, okay, with pride, and because of that, God brought Joseph to the place where God wants to remove this pride out of Joseph's heart. Okay, so that's what I preached last week, the pride test. But today we're gonna talk about the pit test here. So this is the story. Let's open our Bible from Genesis chapter 37, verse 12 to 24 from New King James Version. Okay, Genesis 37, verse 12 to 24. Okay. Okay. Then his brothers went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel, or Jacob, that's Joseph's father's, that's the name. Israel, or Jacob, said to Joseph, "Are not your brothers feeding the flock in Shechem? Come, I will send you to them." And he said to him, "Here I am." Then he said to him, "Please go and see if it is well with your brothers and well with the flocks, and bring back word to me." So it means like the father say, "Okay, your brother is tending our sheep there. So I want you to go there and see and check. and then let me know how is it going. Okay, just let me know. So he sent him out of the valley of Hebron, and he went to Shechem. Now a certain man found him, and there he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, "What are you seeking?" So he said, "I'm seeking my brothers. Please tell me where they are feeding their flocks." And the man said, "They have departed from here, for I heard them say, 'Let us go to Dothan.'" So Joseph went after his brothers and found them in Dothan. Now, when they saw him afar off, when the brothers saw Joseph afar off, even before he came near them, they conspired against him to kill Joseph. Okay. Now, in the beginning, in the first one, the brothers hated him so much because of how Joseph being prideful with his dream and with himself, and that's why the brothers hated him so much. And also Jacob have what you call it loved Joseph more than the rest of the brothers. So that's why you see here why the brothers plotted to kill Joseph. Okay, because they hated him so much. Then they say to one another, "Look, this dreamer is coming. Come, therefore, let us now kill him and cast our brother Joseph here into some pit. And we shall say, some wild beast has devoured him. We shall see what will become of his dreams." So basically, he kind of like challenged the dream. So let's see. We're going to cancel this dream. Just put him in the pit and let him die there. See, let's see. They try to stop, interfere the dream. Okay, and then verse 21. But Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands and say, "Hey guys, let's not kill him." Okay. And Reuben said to them, "Shed no blood, but cast him into the pit which is in the wilderness, and do not lay a hands on him, that he might deliver him out of their hands and bring him back to his father." So Reuben have a good heart here that, okay, you know what, just put him in the pit, and back in his mind he's thinking, okay, I'm gonna save him later on. Okay, now continue. Verse 23. So it came to pass when Joseph had come to his brothers that they stripped Joseph of his tunic, the tunic of many colors that was on him. In NLT, in other version, it says that his brothers ripped off the beautiful robe that he was wearing, that he got from his father. Okay, the beautiful robe, because the father loved Joseph so much, so the father gave him a good, beautiful coat on Joseph. Okay, so the brothers rip it off from Joseph. Okay, then they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty, and there was no water in it, so it's a dry pit. Okay, now, okay, so that's the story about the pit test, and Joseph. Okay, so like it or not, all of us will go through what we call the pit test. We may not know how we got into that pit, and even less sure, we may not know how to get ourselves out of the pit. Are you with me? So, like it or not, there's a time in our life that we are in the pit. What the pit represent? The pit represent your darkest, the most bottom stage of your life. And somehow, sometimes we're not even sure how we can get in that pit. And even less sure how can we get ourselves out of that pit. But one thing for sure, that we need to get out of that pit if we want to move forward, reaching our destiny. That's why the sermon series that we have here, the title called From Dream to Destiny. So Joseph had a dream, And then one day the destiny will be fulfilled. But the situation, the problem is, how do we respond in this process? Because it took 13 years from the dream of Joseph to the destiny of Joseph to be fulfilled. 13 years. Okay? So now the pit test literally happened just right after Joseph told the dream to his brothers. Okay? Now, can you show the image number one, please? There you go. I just, yeah, found this image. Maybe the background just like that. Yeah, those keep moving, keep moving. Okay. All right. So the pit test literally happened just right after Joseph told the dream to his brothers. And then the father asked Joseph to go to see the brothers. And then they found them. And then he found them in Dothan. And then the pit test happened there. Okay. Now, the dream and the reality were flipped over just like that. Joseph did not prepare for the pit. He did not expect that to happen instantly. Now, stop here for a minute. How many of you that you are excited with the plan that you have, the vision that you have, the dream that you have, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to apply for this, and so on and so on, and you are pumped up with that, you are excited with that, but somehow the next day, boom, something is flipped over. Same thing with Joseph. I got this dream. I already shared this to you guys. That one day you will bow down before me. That's how Joseph told the story to the brothers. That's why the brothers hated him. And then the next day after that, the pit happened. How would you respond if you are in Joseph's spot there? I thought the dream looks like, I'm going to go up there. But why they throw me into the pit? Because in that pit, you will feel helpless, hopeless. Let me show the next image, please. How do you feel when you are there? I thought I'm gonna be somewhere up there, somewhere over the rainbow. But now I'm in the pit. The darkest, the lowest, the toughest moment of your life, and you feel hopeless and helpless, and you think that you want to give up your life. So we thought everything is going to be smooth, but why I'm in the pit now? So that's what has happened with Joseph. So he's stuck there by himself. That's it. That's the bottom place of Joseph. So what happened when you are in the pit? Let me show the next image. Yeah. Okay, for example, like that. When you are in the pit, what happened when you are in the pit? How many of you have a claustrophobic? Like you cannot like in the small places. I used to have what is it called? MRI last time. And then you need to fill up the form. MRI like CT scan. You just laying there and then with the machine like a tube. And then there's a form. It says, "Are you claustrophobic?" I say no. It was my first time. So when I get in, like, oh no, I cannot breathe. Like I keep saying, please stop, please, I cannot. Are you sure you're okay? No, I'm not okay. Please stop, I cannot. Just relax, because you tick that in the form. So just relax, okay? It's gonna be just maybe about 45 minutes. 45 minutes? No, I can't. No, just relax, don't think anything, just stay still. And then it took me about 15 minutes to adjust myself. And then he kept telling me in the tube, relax, Ivan, relax. It's fine, I'm here, relax. and then the MRM machine is moving. So then from there I know, okay, next time if there's a claustrophobic question, I say yes. So this thing, feeling, being, you cannot move, like nervous in a small space. And then how do you feel when you are in the pit like that? Confused, stressed, feeling stuck, hopeless, helpless, angry, bitter, and maybe you blame God. Why you put me here? And then blame the brothers. You guys, why you put me here? Help me. So you get angry with the brothers and so on. So when you are in the pit, now listen to this carefully. This is very important for us to know about this one though. When you are in the pit, the enemy, the devil, will try to get us to focus on our circumstances rather than on God's faithfulness. I repeat again. When you are in the pit, the enemy will try to get us to focus on our circumstances rather than on God's faithfulness. It is very important to understand how the enemy, the devil, works, especially when you are in the pit, because the enemy is very deceptive. He will not tell you, he will not only tell you, he will not only tell you a lie, but he will also fabricate evidence to support his lie. That is how the enemy, the devil, was able to get Joseph's father to believe the lie that Joseph was dead. Are you with me? So when you are in that pit, I've been in many pits also in my life. So I know how it feels. I believe all of you have been through some of the pits in your life. And honestly, it's very hard for us to discern which God's voice and which our voice and the devil's voice, because we are stressed when we are in the pit. So be careful when we are in the pit, because many things we say like, okay, that's it, this is done. I'm not able to go up. That's it. Forget the dream, Lord. Forget everything. I cannot see the dream. Where is the dream, the destiny here? What I'm seeing now? Nothing. So that's what happened in the pit. Okay. Now let's continue what happened when Joseph was in the pit. Okay, Genesis 37, verse 25 to 36. Okay, continue here from NLT version. It says this. Then, just as they were sitting down to eat, so after the brothers put Joseph in the pit, the brothers were eating up there, having lunch maybe up there. Okay, so when they were sitting down to eat, they looked up and saw a caravan of camels in the distance coming toward them. It was a group of Ishmaelite traders taking a lot of gum, balm, and aromatic resin from Gilead down to Egypt. Now, I want you to see this story. Though. It's very interesting how God works. Okay? So basically, God sent a group of Ishmaelite traders passing beside the pit. That's the amazing thing about how our God works. If you are Joseph in the pit, how would you know there's going to be a group of traders coming down next to the pit? You cannot see them. Am I right? For Joseph, Joseph could not see the traders up there because he was in the pit. But God works behind your situation. You see the pit now, but God works beyond the pit. So, what I'm trying to say is this: the situation that you have now, maybe you are in the darkest valley right now. Don't believe that God is silent because God is moving and God is working and God is opening and God is helping you beyond that what you can see. Now, this is very interesting. Somehow we just say, "That's it, Lord. I'm done. I'm in the pit. I cannot see anything here. Just the wall. That's it. Just the wall. My brother's up there. That I don't know. I don't know what next. I don't know what happens tomorrow. I don't. But do you know that God is moving and working? They're sending a group of traders beside the pit that you don't see. Okay, that's the message that I wanna to impart to you. Whatever you see, it doesn't mean that it not exist. It doesn't exist. It exists. God is. That's what I call faith. Okay, that's what I call faith. Okay, the next one, verse 26. Judah said to his brothers, "What will we gain by killing our brothers? We have to cover up the crime instead of hurting him." Now Judah was thinking about selling his brother. Okay, guys. Okay, all right. Our brother is in the pit. Instead of killing him, just sell it. Just sell him. Let's sell him to those uh, Ismailite traders. After all, he is our brothers, our own flesh and blood. Yeah, but you don't sell your brothers still. Don't be, like feel that you're good enough on this one, but you're still selling your brothers. Okay, and his brothers agree. Okay, next, verse 28. So when the Ismailites who were Midianite traders came by, Joseph's brothers pull him out of the pit. So basically, the brothers say, "Okay, all right, let's take him out. Let's take him out, and then let's sell him." And then sold him for to them for 20 pieces of silver, and the traders took him to Egypt. So in other words, God used a group of traders to bring Joseph to Egypt. How on earth that you would think that's how God works if you're Joseph in the pit? How can you think of that? Maybe Joseph was thinking, oh, maybe if I shout enough, someone will throw a rope and then I climb. Maybe like that. But God works beyond than you can imagine. Okay, verse 29. Sometime later, Reuben returned to get Joseph out of the pit. When he discovered that Joseph was missing, I don't know why Reuben was not there. He tore his clothes in grief. Then he went back to his brothers and lamented, "The boy is gone. What will I do now?" So basically, Reuben didn't know about selling uh, Joseph. Then the brothers kill a young goat. So basically, the brothers didn't maybe did not tell Reuben what's happening. So then the brothers kill a young goat and dip Joseph's robe in its blood. They send the beautiful robe to their father with a message. "Look at what we found here. Doesn't this robe belongs to your son?" The father recognized it immediately. "Yes," he said, "it is my son's robe. A wild animal must have eaten him." Joseph has clearly been torn to pieces. Then Jacob tore his clothes and dressed himself in burlap. He mourned deeply for his son for a long time. His family all tired to comfort him, and he refused to be comforted. "I will go to my grave mourning for my son," he would say. Then he would weep. Meanwhile, the Midianite traders arrived in Egypt, where they sold Joseph to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. Potiphar was captain of the palace guard. Okay, now that's how God works in our life. Always beyond that you can ever, I repeat again, God works beyond that you can ever imagine. What kind of solution you have in your mind, how intellect you are, God works beyond that. He thought that the pit is the end of his life, but no, the destiny need to be fulfilled. Boom, go to Egypt. Okay. Now, Jacob, his father, as you know, that gave a coat, a beautiful robe to Joseph before the pit incident happened. Okay. I mentioned this last week that the coat was his pride. Carry the coat was his pride. And before the pit, Joseph started to find his identity in the coat because he wore the coat everywhere he goes to show that I am my father's favorite. But God wanted Joseph to have his identity in the Lord, not in the coat. Do you remember what I preached 2 weeks ago about the jawbone? Samson and the jawbone? The power is not in the jawbone. The power is in the Lord that was given to Samson and it was in his hair, not in the jawbone. Now, same thing with this. Your identity is not on the coat that your father gave you. That's why God allowed this to rip off all the pride from out of Joseph's heart. So it is important to understand that the father gave the coat to Joseph, yet it was not the father who took it away, not even his brothers, I would say. Why? Because Joseph's pride itself took the coat away from him because of the pride. So same thing with God's blessing here. God gave the blessing to us and he will not take it away from us. And because of our pride, we can lose the blessing of the Lord. Because pride is the original sin that ever exists. The pride. Prideful. Being prideful. Now, let's continue. Okay, I almost done here. Why? The question is this. Why did God allow the pit test happen to Joseph? Why? Why not from when the father sent Joseph to see the brothers in the field? Why not they and on the way to Dothan and then Joseph met up with this a group of traders? Why not just skip the pit? So why did God allow the pit test to happen to Joseph? The purpose of the pit test it is to get us back to seek God. It is to get us to cry out to God. Okay? It is to remove the pride out of Joseph's heart. The pit. That's why God allowed the pits happen in our life to remove something out from us and then to bring us back to God. So the purpose of the pit is to get us in a place that it is so far down we cannot get ourselves out of it, a place where we cannot set ourselves free on our own. And when we realize that we cannot do it with our own, we will cry out to God. So the purpose of the pit test is to bring us to a place where we can get reminded that only God can help us. Only God that we can trust. No one else. No one else. Can you show the next image, please? Now, when you are in the pit, not only you look around and look down, but there is one thing that you can do. That is look up. Because if you keep looking down, the only thing you see is the dirt, that end. But when you see and you look up, you see there is hope up there. That's why the song "I Will Look Up, for there is none above you." So when you are at the bottom stage of your life, maybe you look happy from outwards, but inside your heart you stress out, you burn out. That's the time where you say, God, I will look up. I will turn my eyes upon you and seeking you and crying for your help, looking up, looking up. So when you are in the most bottom pit of your life, the only thing you can do is looking up and cry out to God. I got the illustration here. It's like a bouncing ball. I asked Tiffany, Tiff, do you have like a bouncing ball that I can borrow? Oh yeah, I have one with the lights. Okay, that's good with the light. Okay, look, there you go, with the light. Now, our life, the pit test can be illustrated with like bouncing ball. When the ball is thrown down, the only response is bouncing up. Okay. So when you are down there, where you feel that there's nothing else I can do, Pastor. I try my best, but I got stuck. Then the only thing you can do is look up and cry out to God. So that's the pit test. But some of us like to stay in the pit. Why? Because they thought there's no hope. I want to give up and wait, just whoever want to help me, just help me out. But you need to bring yourself up and seek the Lord. And Lord, help me. I got stuck. I need to make decision. I need guidance. I need healing. It seems like everything is everlasting and forever. What I'm having right now, no, it's not. Because there's always a season for everything in this world. There's a season of pride test and there's a season of pit test. So it is not hard for God to get you out of the pit. What matters is your heart. Because God's plan will never fail, and your heart is that's what God is seeking. Okay? Now, let me close with this. The pit is the turning point of Joseph's life. Okay? Joseph was changed after the pit test. Now, I'm focusing on the pit and then also the situation in the pit. But I want to close with this. The pit is the turning point. Do you know what turning point is? When you do U-turn, when you drive. Turning point, change direction, change one direction. That's turning point. Joseph was changed after the pit test. So it means something must happen in that pit that change the mindset of Joseph, change the heart of Joseph when he was in the pit. The statement of the Lord is with Joseph was written a couple times after the pit test, which is on the next one, the palace test that I'm going to preach next week. Now, in the palace test, you don't want to miss on the next one, the palace test, because the palace test is the longest test from the 10. I'm telling you. The process is 13 years, but the palace test, it took 11 years itself. The palace test. It's going to be next week. And in the palace test, the Bible showing this. The Lord is with Joseph. The Lord is with Joseph. The Lord was with Joseph in the palace test. Okay? So, we're going to touch about that next week. So, before the pit, Joseph was living with pride. But after the pit, he changed. He changed because he knew I cannot depend myself on the coat because the coat would rip off by the brothers. I cannot depend myself on my brothers. They want me to die. And then I cannot ask someone's help because I'm in the pit. It's only me and the walls. And the only hope that I can rely on is, God, let your will be done and help me. And do you know that behind that scene, God is moving, sending a group of traders. So from that pit is a turning point. It's like a bouncing ball. It's a turning point. It's a turning point. I realize myself that you are the only one that I can rely on. Okay? That's why from there, in the palace test next week, the Bible mentions the Lord is with Joseph. The Lord is with Joseph. Okay? Now, I want to give you this. Can I invite the music team to come forward, please? Now, Joseph, I want to close with this one. Joseph is a type of Christ. And Martin is going to help me to show the word here. Joseph was stripped off his robe by his brothers. That's in Genesis 37, verse 23. And Jesus was stripped off his robe by the soldiers. And they gamble for it. So if you look at Joseph and Jesus, there's a similarity, a picture of Jesus in Joseph's life. Okay, next. Joseph was sold to Egyptian for 20 pieces of silver, and Jesus was sold for 30 pieces of silver. Same. They got sold. Next one. Jesus was betrayed by Judas, and Joseph was sold by Judah, one of his brothers. By the way, Judas and Judah are the same word in Hebrew. Okay? Next. Joseph was thrown into a pit, then God delivered him out of that pit. Jesus was in the grave for 3 days, then God raised him up from the dead. Next. Got it? Okay, it's done. Okay. So Jesus was in the pit, in the grave, not because of Jesus lacking, but because of our lacking. I repeat again. Jesus was in the grave for 3 days, not because of his lacking, but because of our lacking. But Joseph was in the pit because of his lacking in his pride. So when Jesus was in the grave for 3 days, and God raised him up from the dead, it is for us. It is for you. Because Jesus died for us, is to save us and to give us life in abundance. So church, I want to close with saying this. If you are in the pit right now, and it looks like there's no way out, just know that Jesus had been there before you. He died on the cross to deliver you from every pit. And He died so that you can live in freedom and abundance. Amen? So that's the sermon for today, the pit test. There's always a reason why God allowed us to go through that pit test moment. Is to bring us back to God. Let us stand together.